Hello, my precious little princess. How are you? And remember, always delete your archive. God! I'm sorry. Hi guys, Fosmith here, and I apologize for the audio quality on my last video, my review of Superman vs. Meshi. I'm not sure what's going on, but as you probably saw from my previous videos, I have a couple different environments. I have a professional studio, which belongs to my company I can't use all the time. And I have a microphone set up at home, which I can use some of the time, depending on whether my kids are awake or not. But today I wanted to review another manga, and let's see if this one gets me in trouble with YouTube, because I've noticed nobody else has reviewed this and the subject matter is fairly taboo. The name of the manga is My Daughter's Friend. It has no English title, but it has a French subtitle. Let me try this. L'une des grands secrets d'une femme fatale. And my understanding is that it means the big secret of the femme fatale. But the Japanese title is My Daughter's Friend, Musume no Tomodachi. And as you could probably discern from the title, the main character is a middle-aged businessman. He's part of a fairly large furniture company, and he's middle management there. And he has a high school-aged daughter who has become a shut-in, what they call a hikikomori in Japan. Essentially, it's somebody that stays in the room all day. They don't go to school, they don't work. And the events play out in a way in which he is at a restaurant that his daughter's friend works at. And she's accosted by several people, guys that are asking for her number. And he helps her, he saves her, essentially. He didn't need anything, but he asked her to change out his cigarette ashtray. So this begins their relationship with each other. They get to know each other. The main character is named Kosuke. He's the middle-aged father of a high school student. His wife passed away a year ago, and that's the cause of his daughter becoming a recluse. He's portrayed as outwardly somewhat competent at his job, but inwardly he comes across as completely pathetic. He's racked with self-doubt. He gets pissed off at the most petty things. And perhaps the biggest issue is he is, for the most part, unable to resist the wiles of his daughter's high school-aged friend as she comes on to him. This is portrayed in a very subtle way. Nothing is overtly sexual. I've read it up until the third volume so far, the third trade paperback, and they don't have a relationship other than touching each other or hugging each other. But they do things that are wildly inappropriate for a man that's in his 40s and has a daughter the same age as the girl that he's hanging out with. Now, a couple of notes. One of the more interesting things is, as you may be able to tell from the art style, the author is a woman. The author's name is Asami Hagiwara. So most of the characterization of the two female leads in this comic, the girl that in question, the girl that's the title character, her name is Koto, the person that's trying to seduce this older man, and Keisuke's recluse daughter, Mia. Their characterization is they come across as mysterious characters, as in you can't read them, because the main character is this middle-aged man, Keisuke. But there's a certain finesse, a delicateness to the way they're portrayed and the way they're drawn that probably would be hard for a man to articulate in comic form. God, I had a hard time articulating that sentence right there. Um, how did the sexuality involved in this comic is doesn't focus on what a man would focus on. Of course, there's panels where the main character Keisuke is looking at Koto, and he could see her like bra through her blouse, either because the blouse is thin enough that she could see the outline of the bra, or in between the two buttons near her chest, he could see it. And it's not done in any exaggerated manner. It's done in a way in which, I hate to say this, the kind of way you would do it in real life. If something like that were to catch your eye, you don't sit and stare or make weird cartoon noises. You look quickly, you realize what you're doing, and then look away because it's inappropriate. Ultimately, this story is about depression. Keisuke is depressed because his wife died a year ago. He was too busy at work. He wasn't able to be with her in her final moments. He's depressed because his daughter won't talk to him. His daughter absolutely hates him at this point. He's depressed because at work, he has the trust of his superiors, but the people that work underneath him don't trust him at all. They backtalk him. And the main heroine, Koto, acts as sort of a release to this. She appears to genuinely like him. At first, it seems like she's playing around with him, but as the story progresses, it appears that her feelings for him are true. And at one point in the second volume, she tells Keisuke, okay, let's just leave. This is during his lunch break at work. And they get on a bullet train and they start going somewhere. Halfway through, Keisuke realizes that this is a terrible mistake, and they head back. But Keisuke comes back to his daughter, who's wrecked the house because he didn't come back home. This is the first time you see the daughter, by the way. And Koto goes back to her house to her mother, who's been calling her the entire time she was gone. And you find out what's driving Koto. Koto's mother is abusive towards her. She slaps her around. So I believe, in this sense, it's a very psychologically draining manga. On one hand, you have a middle-aged 40-year-old guy who's normal for the most part, a little bit sad, a little bit pathetic, but who's sort of driven to do things that he normally would not do had he not been in the situation that he was in. And on the other hand, you have a teenage 16 to 17-year-old girl who should be, hanging out with her friends at high school, or if she is to date somebody, should be dating somebody in high school, a boy her age. But she's hanging out with this guy that's old enough to be her dad. So you get this really intricate, interwoven dynamic between the characters, the three main characters: Keisuke, the old man, Koto, the love interest, who's a high school girl, and Mia, who's Keisuke's daughter, and also Koto's friend. And this is how the story progresses. And in parts, it's a very exhilarating story because the characters have a catharsis in which they have a release for their stress, in a manner of speaking. But on the other hand, it's a very sad story because their lives slowly start to unravel. Now, I've only read up to the third volume. There's 7 volumes in total. It was completed back in 2020, the end of 2020. So once I actually get through all 7 volumes, I do want to review the entire series again. This series has sold 1 million copies trade paperback since its release. This story about this middle-aged man and his daughter's friend. That's That's amazing. It should tell you something about the breadth and variety of manga in general. So, all right, this is a taboo subject matter. I try to avoid all the very naughty buzzwords that the YouTube algorithm would, flag if I were to say. But I think you probably understand the gist of what's happening in this story. It's not explicit yet, as of Volume 3. It does feel like it can go in that direction, but we'll see. Well, thanks for listening. This has been Fosmith. If you like videos like this about manga or Japanese culture in general, please hit like and subscribe. It really helps out. Alright, guys. Peace!